Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Mostly Goats podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Brandon.
Brandon, dude, it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
We're not normally here today.
We're not, which means it's a special episode.
We've done these over so often.
Yeah, this year we've sprinkled them in here and there.
Today's a little different, though.
4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5 draft. It's a draft episode.
It is a draft episode.
But today's a little different.
It is a little different. Why is it
And
different?
why? Well, you're a jerk. I was going to ask you that question.
Oh, okay. Well, you can ask
Today
me.
is a little different because we're doing a top 5 90s rappers draft,
Yeah,
which
sure
gives
are.
you some time to talk about your favorite rapper,
100%.
RZA.
You suck.
I love you. But we also brought in a friend.
Friend of the podcast.
This is our first time bringing in a friend.
creator of the Wang and Shatner's Poetry Slam.
She
that
did
is
help
now
create
called.
one of those as well, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
she's our game creator, the No Smoke Goats podcast game creator, and a great friend of ours.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you. And give it up to Elena Gonzalez. Hi, Elena.
Hi,
Elena.
guys.
So today,
It is number one on my resume now that I am.
you are the
creator of Wang.
Creator
Wang,
of Wang.
yes.
Yeah,
And then
for
depending on who I'm talking to, it's
Yeah.
either I'm a mother of a son or this game. Depends on
right.
depends on where it goes.
you know, tomato. It's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
I like it. So we talked about you before. We talked this before, and on Friday we got you coming back for an actual like normal guest episode talking about an album.
Yes.
We'll get to that at the very end here. We'll talk about it in a minute. But
Yep.
we said you love 90s rap. I love 90s rap. Brandon
I love
was there
90s
for
rap.
that. Brandon was there for
Everybody
90s rap.
know that
I
Brendan
was
loves the
I
90s
was
rap.
I was born in the 90s rap.
He loved it. So literally. So we said we did a draft episode every single month, and we said, what do you think about doing a top 5 90s rapper draft, 90s hip hop artist draft? And you're like,
Mhm.
after some more information, because
Yep.
you didn't
Mhm.
understand, you're down.
I'm
So
a little slow.
it's okay. That's totally fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with Elena, and she's gonna pick her number 1 draft pick. Think of it like the NFL draft. You're picking your very top of your top. You get the very first pick of every artist of the 90s.
And I'm so excited.
And then Brandon will pick next. I will pick third, and we'll just kind of snake it out there. You'll go
Yep.
again, and we'll just kind of go through our top 5, and then we'll
And once an
give each
artist
other
is off
crap.
the board and has been picked, we
They're gone.
cannot pick that artist again. They're off the board completely.
So
I have been. I've got lists. I've got a triple monitor setup here at my house.
Man.
So I've got different lists going.
Just in
Because
case the
the
shit goes
trades.
sideways, you'll go to a
I
different
wanted
list.
to make
Yeah.
sure. Yep, I wanted to
I
make
like
sure
it.
that all of my picks were set, and that way, if somebody touches anything that I had, I can easily adjust.
All
But
right.
I'm
I'm
so
very
glad
much
that I
looking
get the first
forward.
one.
you get the first pick. So Elena, we're gonna start with you. What's your first pick? 90s hip hop artist. What's your first pick?
1,000%. It's Tupac, and
Tupac Shakur.
I'm glad that I get first pick because I would be extremely violent if any of you did try to take him.
I love it.
Mhm.
It's I won't get too blabby as to why, but I am very much I know that there's another artist that tends to get discussed in that
Mhm.
1 and 2 kind of bucket, but I'm Tupac all the way.
I like it. So yeah, and more on Tupac later, guys. We'll talk about him in a little bit here.
Yeah.
Brandon, what is your first pick?
Oh gosh. I mean, I can't really go wrong with my list because there's a lot of quality humans on this list. But my number 1, I'm gonna go with the one and only Snoop Dogg.
You're going Snoop.
I'm going.
Wow.
Yep. Sure am, guys. Sure. Snoop Doggy Dogg is who I'm going at number 1. Yeah.
Hey.
Well. Yep. There we go. The
And
man is
talking about longevity,
Yeah.
you can't really go wrong. And even in the overall zeitgeist, like he's in a commercial. My boss at work literally sent out an email today that he's in a Petco commercial. And it's, he's part of our vernacular.
He has
Everybody knows
completely
him and loves him.
reinvented himself from the Calvin Brodus to now just this is who he is, and I love it. I love the marketing ability of that man is something that I strive to be at some point.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it is time for my pick, and I'm actually gonna go wild card.
Oh.
I was so excited you guys didn't pick this, and I knew Elena wouldn't, but I was kind of wondering if Brandon was gonna go there.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go. They put out an album in the '90s, and I'm gonna go with the Beastie Boys.
Oh, they're on my list. They're on my list, but I wasn't expecting you to go there yet.
Oh, dude, I made sure I was going with the Beastie Boys because as much as I would have picked Tupac, Snoop was on my list. Tupac was actually number 2, but Beastie Boys number 1 because longevity and what they were able to do and how they were able to kind of be those 3 random Jewish white guys in the 80s who like really did help spawn like the hip hop culture as 3 Jewish white guys in the 80s. And they kept it going for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I picked the Beastie Boys was my first pick.
I like it.
Also,
like
not the first white people I was expecting to see on this list.
I'm waiting for Brandon to pick Snow, by the way.
That's
Oh my god.
I already texted me pick Snow. I was gonna kick his ass, so it's okay.
It's not on my list.
Elena, what is your second pick?
I am I'm going to take a little liberty because depending on who you speak with and how specific they get with the vernacular, rap versus hip hop, kind of where that falls. And I'm going to go Lauryn Hill for number 2.
That's a good choice.
She was on my list.
Yep. I am so impressed. That's the word I'm going to go with. Just impressed by her lyrical ability, and to then take not only the spirit of hip hop and add soul to it and melody. Just
100%.
Beautiful work.
No, that's can't go wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, it's time for your second one. What you got?
Well, if I can't go Lauryn Hill, then I obviously have to go with the Fugees at number 2.
Okay, taking the Fugees. I like it.
So,
very short story. Here's for a fun Wednesday release. I lost my virginity to a man who introduced himself as a break dancer to me at a Fugees concert. True story. We'll expand on it another time. But there's my Fugees connection. It was not that night. I'm not that type of girl.
It wasn't the break dancing that just made you like
it
drop
wasn't,
it right there.
It wasn't
you
just
like hit the
lost
spin.
in the
You're like,
moment. Yes.
Oh
but
my
that,
gosh!
I realized.
Dance. Let's go.
I realized once I replayed that sentence, I was like, "Oh, that sentence sounds way different than I meant it." That is how we initially met.
Sure.
Yes.
Awesome. I
like it.
More
That's
on that
funny.
story later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not on this podcast or Fridays, but it's going to come up eventually at some point.
For sure.
I'm putting that in memory banks.
A teaser.
Yeah. What is Elena going to talk about today? I did not see that one coming. Actually.
Yeah, that was not on my bingo card. That's for sure.
It was not there. No. I'm gonna call this the free space. That's a tidbit from later on. We're gonna call that.
Well,
one
that guy probably thought it was his free space too. That's
come on.
All right, I'm done. Good night.
Good night. Yeah. Tip your servers. They'll be here till tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. All right,
so
Steve.
Dude, I'm picking another group. I'm picking a duo though.
Yeah.
Outcast.
Yeah.
Oh, solid.
I'm picking a duo. Going Outcast.
Okay.
I'm trying not to pick all groups, but I'm also like, there's some other ones on here. I'm just like,
Yep.
So, all right.
Oh man, now we're getting into the nitty gritty, and I don't like it.
Now your third pick, Elena. What you got?
Okay, I'm gonna go. That threw me off a little bit because I had Outcast next, and I thought I was gonna go smooth. Okay, I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna go. So I brought in a little bit of the spirit and the soul with Lauryn Hill. Now I'm gonna go strictly like for the technical, like when you're judging the Olympics in gymnastics.
Yep.
And the analytical, the technical, the talent behind it, and I'm gonna go Busta Rhymes. Just
Yes.
the ability to say the words that he says so fast.
Yes. He's in my top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God, that sucks. He was my next one I was gonna go with. All right, Brandon, what you got?
I am going with
Third
with
pick.
with a feller who it's a feller, so it's only one. With a guy who he's done it all. He's got albums out there. He's produced things. He's helped bring white people into mainstream hip hop and rap. That man is very angry now. But it is what it is. Maybe he's turned his life around. I don't know. Doesn't matter. And he was also a part of the collaboration of hip hop artists during the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Give me the Dr. Dre.
There was 2 ways
I
you could have
did
went with
not
that.
think that's where that sentence was gonna end.
I was like,
You-
when you said Super Bowl, I went, okay. I knew it was Dre at that point, but before you said that, I was like, it's either Dre or Cube. It's either Dre or Cube. Like,
no,
that's
I still maybe I'm the idiot
Who were you
because
thinking?
I just fixated on the white person part, and I honestly thought he was going Eminem.
Eminem.
Yeah.
I was thinking Dre or Cube, but he said it was a part of a group, and I went, oh, if he said group, then I'm screwed because it could be either one because NWA. So, oh man, okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
I'm so much.
Dre, way to go,
No
Dre.
offense, don't come at me, Marshall Mathers people, but I'm so much happier that you went with Dr. Dre.
Me too. Me too. I'm glad that he was still on the board. So
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
All right.
so
All
my
right,
third
Steve.
pick, I'm gonna
Yes, sir.
go with a New York rapper. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them I could pick. Not that one.
Oh, really?
There's a couple
I'm
of big
surprised
ones
you knew
still on
who
the
I meant
board.
by that vocal thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go DMX.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Going DMX. Where your dog's at? So we're
Okay.
gonna go DMX here.
DMX has my all-time favorite Christmas song. And for those of you who might be looking for a little, Christmas in July kind of vibe, do yourself a favor and YouTube DMX Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And it's 1 minute and 40 seconds of just pure happiness. Enjoy.
That is gonna have to happen now.
That's gonna have to happen. 100%.
All right. So yeah, I could have went with a couple other heavy hitters from New York, and I wanted DMX. I felt like of all of the ones that is there, battle rapping and just pure unadulterated hate,
Yeah.
DMX fits the bill. He just didn't like anybody. Didn't matter where you were from, he didn't like anybody.
Right.
And it's I really think that especially in rap, it is so essential to develop a unique sound.
Yes.
Not only what you're saying, but just the style in which you're delivering it matters so much. So you look at Busta and that you can recognize him immediately. DMX, the first note out of his mouth, you recognize him immediately, and that's
100%. And I'm happy that we've gone through 9 artists between the 3 of us here, and we're all like, oh yeah, and like it's but there's so many, like there's so many good artists in the 90s. It was the hip hop heyday. So Elena, we're gonna go with you next. What was your 4th pick? What are you taking 4th?
So I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit, because when I initially put together my list from my heart, this man did not make my list. And then I did cheat a little and just Googled the hell out of every list possible to see who I was forgetting. And he made he sold his way onto my list just from popping up in some things, and I convinced myself that he deserved a spot, and that is Jay-Z. Jay-Z does not pop into my head as integral in the 90s. But that's partially because my chronology is terrible. But the 90s were a long time. And I tend to think early 90s when I think of 90s, but he was there. And I think of him also in the longevity sense, the business sense. And I saw him in concert and he was fantastic live. So he made it into my, what are we at? Number 4? This is the number 4 spot.
Yep. So we recently just did Jay-Z's MTV Unplugged album on the podcast earlier this month. And yeah, he's an absolute magician when it comes to lyrics, the battle king when it comes to a lot of things, but also just like you said, longevity. And he is literally the richest hip hop artist, almost music artist of all time. That man's got money. He doesn't need Beyonce's money, but he's got a little bit of that too, probably. But he is just a master when it comes to developing talent, producing albums, and then what else he's doing on the back end now. Speaking of entrepreneur, again, it's got businesses upon businesses. What did you guys check here?
It? Is that a real stat?
Of what?
That he's the
he is the richest hip hop artist of all time. For sure. It's him and Dre, but he was the first hip hop billionaire. Kanye was third, but then Kanye's not a billionaire no more because it's Kanye.
Right.
He was the first billionaire, but I think the number was over $2.5 billion the man's worth.
All right. Yeah, because I was thinking it was Dre with Beats, but that's
Jay-Z actually has them because of like Rockefeller with the sports marketing and everything else he's got going on.
Right.
And he owns Tidal now too. And the man's worth so much money. Yeah. But yeah, he's past Dre, but Dre hasn't done anything since he sold Beats, really. He's produced some stuff here and there, but not really done much else. And he's kind of sitting in the background, just being old and doing his thing, which I appreciate. Totally not. He earned his right to be old and just do nothing. So Brandon, it's time for your 4th pick. What do you got, buddy?
It's time for my 4th pick. All right. So I am gonna go with a guy who you see him on the regular, right? But not doing music.
Oh,
you see this guy kicking ass, taking names, and working alongside Mariska Hargitay for the last like 20 years or more, like close to 25 at this point.
Top killer.
Yeah, give me some tea. I want some iced tea.
Not only a great 90s hip hop artist, but also a great 90s metal artist with body count. I'm just going to put this. We've talked about him before, and there's with him and Ice Cube, how they shouldn't really be allowed to be around children for like their efforts of the 90s. You're like, he's in TV every week, and they're like, whoa. But I was like SVU because Ice T would just come up nowhere, just punch me in the face like constantly. Yeah. That's what he was doing. So that's a good pick, Brandon. I like it.
Thank you.
A little deep there. Yeah. So my 4th one, I felt that we've left some ladies out. We've picked Lauryn Hill technically twice, but Single and the Fugees, I get it. She deserves all of her roses. But I went with another female artist, and I still might go with another one, my 5th pick. We'll see. But I took Missy.
Oh, she was my next one.
I took Missy. To what she's done in the 90s and then reinventing herself even now. On the Grammys, she was amazing. Like 30 some years later, she's still just killing it. And I think she's going to be around for a while longer doing her thing. So I was going back and forth between her and Queen Latifah too, who was still big in the early 90s. And then my other one, I'm not going to say yet because I want to see what happens. There's 2 other females on my list right now that I'm hoping that might still be there. We'll see what happens. So, Elena, your last pick. Who you got?
Missy is also, I'm not sure where we're at in the talks, but she's in the mix for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes, she is.
And I don't remember if she's like officially nominated or like in the pool to be nominated or any of that. But
she was on the ballot this year.
Okay. That's what it was. I get they bring it up so many different times and I just get confused. It's like proposed to be nominated and then actually nominated and then made it through and then gonna, so yeah, there's just
She was inducted. She was inducted
She was?
May 3rd this year.
Oh, wow.
Yep, she was inducted this year, May 3rd.
Wow.
Nice. All right.
That's impressive. Okay. So my fifth. Oh, this is tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got, it's going to be just a passion play. It's not going to be for what they've done, because I feel like I just want to say, like, Eric B and Rakim, great. Nas, great. I don't know if the guys are going to pick any of these people, but I feel like they are at least notable.
Mm-hmm.
And
I say that like I know what I'm talking about.
MC Light was on my list from a passion play, but I put her more in the late 80s, so I'm gonna keep her out there. And oh, this is so tough. All right, I think I'm gonna go for my last pick, even though he's not usually seen as a solo. He's usually a part of a group. We talked about like having a tone and a voice, and I've always loved his voice. And I think he's fucking hot, so that gets some points too. And I'm gonna go with Method Man.
Oh, Meth.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was just on your side of the state at a festival recently.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, one of Canada's festival. It's over on the east side.
Ooh.
Last weekend.
Yeah, I just think he's, I don't know, like his voice is nice. And it's I'm not even gonna. I'm
that's good. No, I totally understand. So, Brandon, what's your last pick?
Man, this is tough. This is really tough because there's still a handful of artists that, I mean, you can't really go wrong with. There's a ton, but I gotta pick one, and I think, oh man, I'm gonna go with the artist that I feel has made an impact in the 90's, has continued to make an impact all the way through, and even now continues to make an impact every single night. Give me the Roots.
The Roots.
All right.
I like it. That is the eclectic pick that I love hearing from Brandon.
I'm so impressed by you, Brandon.
So they were on my list. They were definitely. Nas was on my list. I had thrown in Mos Def and Common as well. But I was like, I don't want to pick all New York rappers. And I could have picked all New York guys. My other female, I'm not gonna pick her. I got one that I need to throw out, but I was gonna pick Lisa Left Eye Lopez.
Okay.
She was on my list, and so was Salt Peppa. But if I'm gonna take one last one, and I'm gonna take an artist, and I realized I don't have a West Coast artist at all on my list. Give me NWA. They were still early. They were still in the 90's, like 90, 91, but they got there, just scooched in. But give me NWA. I wanted to take Cube by himself, but I felt like with Cube and with Dre and Eazy-E, they were what created gangster rap. If not for them, we wouldn't have had it. They created the gangster rap. They created that scene. They kind of created the beef on the East Coast a little bit, and then it just spiraled the hell out of control. But they were the originators to what the 90's rap scene was. Being angry as shit and not, giving no cares as to what you thought and what you felt about it. And you didn't have to agree with them. You didn't have to appreciate what they were doing. They were going to tell you what they thought, and they didn't care. And I appreciate that a lot of artists even now are doing that based on what they did.
And you cannot discredit the financial responsibility that they had for getting Midwest kids to buy Raiders starter jackets.
100%.
So that was a huge boom.
Yeah, they definitely helped the Raiders stay in Oakland for a while longer before they moved to before they moved to LA, then back to Oakland.
I had a Charlotte Hornets starter jacket. That was
everybody kind of had the Hornets, Raiders, or Bulls. It just seemed like those were the
and
big
I
ones.
I feel like that is the difference in our age, because Charlotte Hornets, I remember more as like the Big Mama, when that kind of came through. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was almost like Rage and Raiders, and then everybody's like, oh no, we can have fun too. And then the Hornets.
Teal. We're gonna go teal. Let's be happy.
Yeah.
And that's Brandon too. He was the happy guy. So our top fives, I'm gonna go through them really quick here for us so we can get going to our next one here. But our top five. So Elena, you picked Tupac Shakur, Lauryn Hill, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, and Method Man.
Great list.
Phenomenal list. Brandon, Snoop Dogg, the Fugees, Dr. Dre, Ice-T, and the Roots. And then I went with the Beastie Boys, Outkast, DMX, Missy Elliott, and NWA. So, I mean, it's 15 artists, and we probably all had about 5 to 10 more we could have thrown out there easily, but just the 90s. So I love the fact that we can have these conversations with the 90s rap, learn some very interesting details about Elena.
And I'm so glad.
And I love it. Yeah.
I apologize to Chris's family. I'm sure he was an amazing person, but I'm happy that that he didn't make the list.
That's okay, and I like it. So, and I will say for all three of us, I am happy none of us picked Eminem. Personally,
yes.
His album in the 90s was great, but he's not a 90s rapper for me.
Nope.
His original his debut was in the 90s, but he's not a 90s rapper to me. He doesn't fit. He's not in the same echelon.
I saw him on he was on my list, but at the same time, it's like I then had to take into consideration when I first was introduced to him, and that wasn't until the early 2000s. When was Curtain Call? Like 2004?
Yeah, no, 2002.
2002, something like that. So around then, so I'm like, okay, well, then I'm not gonna.
Yeah, so, and I do want to make sure we mentioned one last artist we didn't talk about today. We didn't, and he was on my list, and I didn't put him in there, but none of us brought up Biggie. None of us put Notorious B.I.G.
I'm sorry, that was
the one.
That was
the one you were.
Yeah.
Yep, Christopher. Yeah, that was what you were talking about. So he didn't make the list of anybody's thing, and I had him up there too. But weighing things out, he deserves to be in the conversation for sure. But I understand getting him out of there. So, Elena, before we end today, tell the fans what's coming up on Friday. What are we talking about on Friday?
On Friday, we are going to talk so much more about my number one pick. I am so excited. We're going to go into Tupac's All Eyes on Me.
Yes, we are.
Album.
It's a double album, big long one, guys. So come back on Friday. We're going to have some more conversations. We really don't know what Elena's going to say, so you might get some more tidbits about the life of the Gonzalez here.
I do have a story that involves me at 16 in a tanning salon getting yelled at by a Karen that has to do with Tupac. So,
well, there we go. There's a good teaser.
Come on back.
Come on back for that one on Friday. So, Brandon, good. You did not bring shame on your family and shame on your cow today. You did a very good job. I appreciate you. It's a very good thing. You're on thin ice though, so we'll see what happens on Friday.
Absolutely,
you're building yourself back.
Yeah,
and we will back on Friday. So, guys, hopefully you like the list. Let us know what you thought. I'm gonna post these lists out on Facebook when this come out here.
I would say, dude, you should post this list out like a week before.
I'm gonna drop it out in the next couple of days. I just gotta get some stuff done here.
Yeah.
It'll be out.
Yeah, let us know what your top 5 is.
Yeah,
let us know why we're wrong or why I'm right. Whichever way.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
100%. So, other than that, we will see you guys on Friday. Come back. We'll talk a little more about Tupac and his very short but very eventful life. And we will get there on Friday. So, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Notes, my goats. Notes, my goats. Notes, my goats. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Notes, my goats podcast.